Hello and welcome everyone. I wanted to talk about knitting because that's all I really want to talk about these days. I am just so in love and inspired with knitting. It feels, I don't know, it just is really special, and I'm so grateful that I rediscovered knitting. So it's been almost a year now, actually. I started knitting in October of 2022. What year is it? And I have only grown more and more fond of knitting as time progresses. The more I learn, the more patterns become available to me, the more challenges I am able to accept, and the more excited I become to knit, which is really amazing. I don't even have the words to continue to enthuse about this really special craft. It has impacted my life in so many ways, and I've touched on them here and there in past videos, and so I don't want to belabor them. But as far as learning how to overcome my fears, to take on challenges, and to see them through, this has been a great exercise, a great growing process for me. It has also started to impact my approach to journaling, and maybe I should reserve that for its own video. But how I approach journaling, when I journal, and what I'm journaling has definitely shifted as of late. Currently, I am working on the Hug Hug Kiss Kiss shawl. This is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and one of the most challenging patterns I have done thus far. And it's really not actually that difficult, but it still was a learning process, and it has challenged me in many ways. And there were moments in which I felt very frustrated and I wanted to give up, and there were moments of great success, and now I just feel really proud, and I know what I'm doing now, which is really exciting, and I feel very confident. And that's not to say I haven't made mistakes. I have made a couple of mistakes, but I've been able to navigate them, and I don't think they'll be that obvious, which is exciting. I think this will be a very wearable garment for me, and I am very, very happy with the colors that I have chosen. This was challenging. Picking the colors was the first challenge that I encountered. I could not settle on a color theme. There's just so many options available, and I just wanted to be able to pick something that I wouldn't get tired of. And yet there was also this part of me that feels constantly, in many ways, that I need to try new things, that I need to step out of my comfort zone. And I think that has its benefits because you can learn a lot about yourself and what your limits are. But I also think there's a lot to be said about accepting the parts of yourself that do exist and just allowing them to live and be free and express themselves. And I think the colors that I chose are very me. And these are colors that will probably never really get old. I think I will always enjoy them. I think they will go with everything I have. No, I didn't step out of my little comfort zone, if you will, but I think that's for the better. When I get to the end here, I will show you. I am very near to completion. My goal is to have this finished by Sunday. Today is Thursday evening, so I have 3 full days left, and I think that is very possible. I'm so excited. Ta-da! Now I can't fully stretch it out because it's much longer than my cable is, but here are the colors. And that pattern is so beautiful. I love the crosses, the X's. Ugh, just fills my heart with joy. I cannot wait to wear this. So each color will repeat 3 times, and then there's going to be a white band at the very end, which should give you a bit of a sense of how much more I have to do. So let's see. I'm almost done with this. I have one more row of this brown, dark brown, and then the pattern is going to repeat one last time. So we're very, very close. I can't wait. I also have made some progress on the socks, and I have in fact completed one, which is great. So these are the Hug Hug Kiss Kiss, no, these are the DRK Everyday Sock, also by Andrea Mowry. They are in a wool and yak fiber. Oh, they're so soft and so delightful, and I cannot wait to wear them. They are in a yarn by the Farmer's Daughter. This is their Bear Paw sock yarn, and I just love this pattern so much because it's really stretchy and it just forms to your foot in a really wonderful, luxurious way. It's like a foot cuddle, but it's still flexible that they don't feel restrained. I have this much done on the second sock. I've basically reached the ankle, and another goal I have for this weekend is to finish this color, this block of color, and then we'll be moving on to the main color, which is this. This is also a pretty forgiving pattern. I've made a fair amount of mistakes here and there, not because the pattern's complicated, but I'll just space out. And luckily they're not too obvious. And because this is something that I wear on my feet, it's not under high scrutiny by everyone, including myself. I think I can get away with something that has mistakes that you don't really see, and they still function as socks. I also started another pair of socks. This is again the same pattern because I just love wearing this pattern. I will do other sock patterns again in the future. I just am really having a moment with these socks and have really enjoyed wearing them. This is the Bad Sheep yarn in the Yippee-Ki-Yay, which is 100% wool. No, not 100%. There's nylon in it. It's 75% wool and 25% nylon. Superwash merino is what it is. Bad Sheep yarn. It definitely, I don't know if it's the higher nylon percentage, but it has a drier feel. It feels less elastic and a little bit stiffer, but it's still really soft, and I think it'll still be a very comfortable sock yarn, and maybe a little bit harder wearing because of the higher nylon content. I don't know. So we'll see. Anyways, I like it. This is such an unusual colorway, and I couldn't wait to see how it knit up, and I had to start. As soon as I finished that other sock, I was like, all right, we are making that Yippee-Ki-Yay yarn into a sock. I also have plans to start this hat. This is going to be another Andrea Mowry pattern. I know. I will branch out, I promise, one day. I'm just really enjoying her patterns right now, and they're very clear, and I like how they're written. It's in a language that I understand, and I like the styles that she produces. This is for a beanie. I think it's called the Honeycomb beanie, or something honey. It has the name honey in it, I'm pretty sure. And I wanted to start this a while ago, but it too has a lot of new techniques for me to learn. And I didn't want to do that while also learning all these new techniques for the shawl. But now that I'm reaching the end of the shawl and I have a very firm grasp on those techniques now that it's just second nature. It's very repetitive, and I don't question what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. I feel like I can put in some mental energy into learning some new techniques again. This shawl definitely provided a pathway for me to kind of let go of some of those fears in which I'm afraid of failing and afraid of trying new things and afraid of not being experienced enough to try them or good enough to try them. Being able to, and I know these are like in probably pretty simple techniques, but for me it was just a really big deal, and I feel a lot more confident now. There's some other things that I want to talk about. One of which is this sweater vest. I don't know if anybody remembers this. This is something that I started a while ago. And honestly, I don't know if I ever want to finish it. So this was one of those things where I just wanted to make something, and I wanted to make something that felt at my level, because I have this like idea that I am only restrained to like my particular level and I'm not allowed to try something harder, which is really silly, but that's just how I feel about things generally. And this pattern is the diamond twill pattern from the 52 Weeks of Easy Knits, which was one of the best sources for me as a beginner knitter. It really taught me so much, and things were very approachable and very wearable and very clear and easy to understand. And I wanted, this vest was actually not something that I ever really was in my list of things that I wanted to make from the book. I actually had a lot of other patterns in that book bookmarked. This was not one of them. But I got this Noro yarn because my local yarn shop had a huge Noro event, and there was Noro yarn all over the store, and they had a representative come in and they were doing like a little lecture class sort of thing, and they had tons of examples of things knit up in Noro yarns, and I just wanted to be a part of it and I wanted to try it out. I thought Noro was really beautiful and interesting, but not necessarily something that I was really compelled to work with, but there it was, and I wanted to give it a try. Originally, I bought this to make a hat that it did not translate well in the hat. This yarn just didn't work, and it's a silk mohair and wool yarn. And so I was like, well, gosh, I gotta like figure out what to do with this yarn. And so I saw the diamond twill vest and I thought maybe that would translate well. And so I bought some more yarn and I knit this up. Originally it was too big, and so I pulled it all out and I started over again. And this project hurts my hands a lot, I'm realizing. Every time I work on it, my hands get really sore and cramped. And I don't know if it's the stiffness of the yarn, if it's the weight of the yarn. While it is somewhat soft, it feels a little bit working with twill or rope or cordage. It doesn't have the same suppleness or elasticity. Even like a super rustic wool feels like it has a little bit more give, or I don't know the words that I'm looking for. This is just feels very stiff. And maybe that's part of why it hurts my hands so much. Second of all, because this was all a very forced project, the pattern was not really something I was that interested in doing. The yarn wasn't necessarily anything that I was really compelled to work with. I just got caught up in the excitement of it all when it was there and available. I'm kind of like, I don't really want to work on this anymore. I did do some work on it this last weekend just to give it another try because it's been sitting around for a long time. And I made a lot of progress. I actually knit about that much of the front part of this vest. But I don't like it. I just don't like it. And I don't really want to work on it. So I'm not sure what to do. I'm almost thinking that I will cast it off and sew the bottom up so that it's a little sleepy sack for Bean, because that might actually work really well. I will then have 2 full skeins of Noro yarn. I don't want to have extra yarn in my stash, but I think that will help give me some peace of mind. I don't like unfinished projects lying around. It gives me a lot of anxiety. It makes me just really uncomfortable. I'm like, I gotta finish those things. Someone's calling me. I'm gonna decline that. Anyways, so yeah, that's the saga with the sweater vest. I think I needed to talk through that to like allow myself to just, we're done with it. I think we're done with that project, even though I put many hours into it. I also wanted to talk about this. This is called a God's Eye. And we actually made these with the kids at my school. And I realized this is a really beautiful, satisfying, very fun, approachable way to use up yarn scraps from past projects. And I have all these little tiny balls from socks and various other things that I'm like, what do I do with them? I don't have the heart to throw them away because these are special, they're valuable and precious, and that just seems like such a waste of resources. So I've been holding on to them, thinking that maybe one day I will weave them on a loom. I would like to get like just a really basic lap loom so that I can make wall tapestries or something with all the scraps. But in the meantime, I put some sticks together and wove this God's Eye. And it's, yeah, I think this will be a really fun way to use up yarn. This is actually going to be a gift from my mom. And I think I would like to make more. And I think they will make really fun gifts to give to people too. And decor for the walls. So that's where we're at with, oh, there's one last thing. I'm sorry. What are we at time-wise? Okay, it's a little bit rambly, but I have finally decided on the next sweater I'd like to knit. So I've actually had a lot of anxiety about knitting a sweater for a variety of reasons. One, all the sweaters that I've made up until this point, I feel like have been learning lessons, stepping stones in my learning process. And they're not necessarily things that I feel really compelled to wear or proud of. And I don't like the fit on some of them. And so I'm so afraid of that happening again, that I've wanted to be really deliberate and really selective and really careful. And I want a sweater that's packable, so not too bulky. I want a sweater that can serve a variety of purposes. I want it to be able to lounge around in the house with. I want to be able to go to work in it. I want to be able to go out to dinner in it. I want to be able to go camping with it. So it needs to be versatile. I also wanted it to feel like a potentially flattering piece. I don't like when sweaters are tight, especially around my midriff. And so I think I found the right one. And it's, again, an Andrea Mowry pattern. It is the original Weekender. I am going to be, I've already committed. I picked the color. It's going to be Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in the colorway Yellowstone. I was really drawn to the hayloft. I really wanted to do the hayloft, but I was torn between the two. My friend Nikki had a sample card actually of all the fibers, and that was really helpful seeing them in person. And in person, I was actually drawn a little bit more to the Yellowstone, but on the website, I still prefer the hayloft. However, they didn't have enough skeins, so that kind of solved that problem. And hopefully the Yellowstone will be a good color that will be very wearable and not something that I get sick of, and something that goes with all of my outfits and my wardrobe and all the things that I've knit. So anyways, that should be coming in the mail within the next 2 weeks, and I will get started on that. I'm gonna do it properly. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna do a gauge swatch. It will be my very first gauge swatch ever. Yeah, and so I'm excited about that. Also, the other reason, to make a very long story not short at all, I also had anxiety about us knitting up a sweater because I feel like we have a very short window of time in which it is sweater weather. And I feel like my time has already run out, and I want to be able to make something that I really am proud to wear and excited to wear before the season is over. And I already feel like I'm late to the party, and I'm like, oh no, we're running out of time, and it's too late. I'm not going to be able to wear this sweater. That's not true. We have many months. In fact, it hasn't even gotten cold yet, so it's still on the horizon. I think I'll be able to get a sweater done, and hopefully it will be something that I really like to wear. So that is all. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around this very rambly video. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye. So cute. Here you go.